Hey, life group leaders. I hope you're doing well. I'm very grateful to be able to visit some of you over the last couple weeks. It's been a great time getting to know you and see how the Lord is working in your class. And I just have to say thank you so much. You've been so inviting, so kind, so warm to us, and it's been a really sweet time. Over the next couple months, like I've said before, I really hope I get to meet with all of you. I know it's going to take some time, but it's great seeing how the Lord is already at work here at Lakeside. And I just want to encourage you, keep doing what you're doing, keep directing people to Scripture, keep showing them the love of Christ. And if they can experience the kindness that you've shared with me, then I know any new visitor will be blessed because you all have been so loving and kind. I pray that over the next couple weeks, as I continue to learn and get to know you all, that I can be a blessing to you and a resource. As I step into this role, I really hope that it will be a blessing to you and to me as we learn what the Lord would have for us as we move forward. I believe many of you saw Tan's email that went out yesterday. And while he is transitioning into a new role, he'll still be here and he's still working alongside the discipleship pathways that we have in place. And he's going to be mentoring me and guiding me to do that. And I just hope it can be a good transition for everyone. I know change can be scary at times and it can be uncomfortable. And my goal is not to make it to make it more difficult or to make it radically different. I just want to be there to serve you and bless you as you've already blessed me. So I just wanted to share with you a few announcements this week as we are looking at the next couple weeks. Wednesday nights are back in full swing with the second phase of classes. And so if you haven't had a chance, I highly encourage you go. I'm going to send out an email with the information I'm about to share with you. But we have Wednesday night classes. If you haven't signed up, please do. If you haven't visited one in a while, this should be a really good time. There's some really great classes. Another thing to remember, Wednesday night dinner is open, and we just want to invite you to come to Lakeside and get a chance to enjoy fellowship before the classes on Wednesday night. So if you're interested in coming, please sign up. I'll send a link with this video. You'll notice at the bottom it'll have a section with announcements, and so as you go through that, please use that for your benefit. The other thing I want to let you know about, we have a family ministry hike coming up this weekend. It'll be on the 18th. It'll be from 9 to 12, and there's more information on the website. I have a link for that as well. But be praying about it, encourage some families. This would be a great way to get young families connected and to build those relationships. Another thing I want to let you know is Operation Christmas Child is coming up soon. And so please be considering how your life group can be serving in that way, packing shoe boxes and getting those blessings to children around the world so that they can hear the gospel. One thing that I want to encourage you all as you're preparing this week, Tan sent me a link to an article that is really geared toward how do we structure our classes well. And it's funny, as I'm reading this, I noticed a lot of similarities to what I currently do, but also ways that I could sharpen my approach. And I want to share that with you. But I also want to share how I go about doing life group lessons in preparation. Now, I'm going to break this down in my email. So as you get the email, don't worry, I'm not giving you a whole bunch of extra things to read. It's just summarizing everything that I'm putting in here. So when I look at the email and the article, it really helps us think, how do we bring our life groups together and encourage them to think through what does it mean to produce disciples who make disciples? And how do we get them excited about the word and apply the words that way when they go out, they're not leaving empty-handed, they're coming full, and they know how to share the gospel and the good news of Jesus Christ. So wherever you are in your study groups, I just pray that this would be a good way to help you, or maybe just a refresher. And I want to let you know I'm going to be making a survey. I hope to send that out next week. It'll include information to get an idea of what your ways that I can walk alongside you, things that are working, or areas maybe you need some more resources, anything that can help you with that. And so I hope that over the next week or so, I can get that finished and sent to you. There's another conference I'm going to this week, so I'm leaving this afternoon to go to a marriage conference, and we're seeing how we can use those resources and tools to be a blessing to the church here. But whenever I go into a lesson, we need to begin with prayer. All right, so use this as you will. I'm not saying you have to do it this way. It's just what worked for me, especially with the age group we had. It helped connect us to the lesson well. So we always start with prayer, whether that's everyone sharing their life situation and how we could pray for one another, or if it's just praying just to get our minds in the right place before we jump into the text. So I'll start off with prayer, and you can do prayer requests in the beginning or the end, whichever you feel comfortable, or however you already have structured the class. I'm not saying change anything, but I just want to give a sample. The other thing is I'll begin with prayer, and then I open up with a question. This question will usually connect to the main point of the passage. And so the purpose of that is to already get my people thinking what the text is about and to give them a clue of where we're going. And so this connects them. I might say, for instance, if I'm talking about David and Goliath, a lot of people will say, well, here's your rock. What giant are you facing? But the text really isn't about Goliath. It's about the victory being in God's hands. So I may say, what difficulty are you facing that the Lord has already overcome? Or how have you wrestled with something in connection to the passage? So I let the passage determine the question, and from there I then use that to guide the people before we even read the passage. Then after we go through the question and we have a good dialogue, we'll then go into the text. And usually what I want to do is have them read, someone as a volunteer to read the passage. Now, if this is a new chapter or a new book study, what I might do is provide the structure of the whole book, the theme of the book, or the major themes of the book, how it connects to Christ, who wrote it, if the author is indicated, and then the date of the composition and where it plays in the narrative of Scripture. Because when we get to books like Job and Ecclesiastes and Lamentations, if our audience is not familiar with the context or the history of Scripture, they may be confused about how does this matter for us today, or how does it connect to Christ? So that gives you a chance to work through that. Then, as I said, after doing, if I need to provide that introduction, if not, I'll just give a brief context. Hey, last week we talked about David and Goliath, and now this week we see that David is building friendships with Jonathan, and he's becoming he's growing as the armor bearer to Saul, and he's building those relationships. And then we get into the passage. But as we do that, I may ask my class, hey, what stands out to you? What's interesting in this text? What about it is difficult, or what's something we need to wrestle on first before we get into the meat of the text? Because as we read it, things will stick out, right? Like if we're reading about Noah, if we read through chapters 6 through 9, we're like, well, what's the deal with the Nephilim? Why are they there? Why do we get two separate accounts of the animals coming? Why are there 7 pairs in this chapter of animals, but in this chapter it's all the animals? And so as we wrestle with that helps break down some of the difficulties already. So when we go verse by verse, it helps us really get to the core of the message, and then we process that together. I would encourage you, if you're lecturing to your people, they may shut off, right? But if you're providing questions and allowing conversations and discussion, that really that separates the disconnect and brings it together, so that as a group we're doing this together. It's not just the lead teacher or the sub or whoever. And then as we come to the end of it, sorry the video is going longer than I meant to, but as we get to the end of the passage, I then will remind them application points and then give them a challenge. How are you going to take this to the people in your life? God has already put you in a mission field. So where are you serving? How are you being effective? And in turn, how are you then getting the gospel? Whether it's to non-believers or believers that are struggling, how are you encouraging them, inviting them to come along, or maybe create avenues for discipleship with family members or neighbors or lost believers or young people in the church, or even accountability with people in a similar life stage. And so as you walk through the text, please give them application, because if all we're doing is teaching them, we're not equipping them. All right, we're helping them have the head knowledge, but we need to give them the heart knowledge. How do we apply this and live this out for the glory of God? And then, as I said, all this will be outlined. It's much shorter, I promise. But what I want you to do is really challenge them to share it with someone this week and to encourage them, because they are also to make disciples. It's not just your job as the teacher or leader of the group. So if you have any questions or you want to talk about any of this, please let me know. I look forward to seeing you all on Sunday, and I'm praying for you, and I hope that wherever you are in Scripture, that the voice of God would be so clear to you and so powerful that it transforms your life, and others can see the work of Christ, and we can give him glory for what he's doing in our lives. Again, grateful for you all, and I'm excited to see you on Sunday. God bless.